Hi everyone, welcome to Millward Brown Digital's Amazon Prime Day Insights session. I'm Lincoln Merrihew and I run client services here at Millward Brown Digital. We're very excited to have you attend today. We've got about 100 people registered already and more are kind of coming on as we go, so hopefully you can all see the presentation and the event. Real quickly, we're going to tell you a little bit about Millward Brown Digital for those of you who don't know. We are the world's leading digital experts in helping clients grow great brands. And one of those brands is Amazon, in fact. And what Amazon has attempted to do here is really create its own shopping event, quote unquote, and obviously hopes to drive business that way. So a couple of the ways that we help our clients drive business are shown on the screen there. There's consumer insights, which is really the path consumers take to shop and buy for things. There's the category brand look, which looks at digital touch points, so that's the best place that you as companies can influence these consumers. We also have a focus on marketing, which identifies which touch points have the best opportunity to influence those customers. And where we think our forte or point of differentiation is that we have dedicated customer teams that interpret these data with absolute expertise. And in this case, we've got someone from our retail team, Katie Alaskowitz, who's going to walk you through some of the findings here. And I think you're going to find some things you may have expected, but then some surprises as well. So again, thanks for attending. I'm going to turn it over to Katie. And for those of you that are representing people from your company, we are at the end of this, we'll be able to show individual presentations of this to specific companies. So if you think your peers would benefit from seeing some of this information, let us know and we can actually do a company-specific walkthrough of these same results, which we've done in the past with great results. So we're going to hand it over to Katie to walk through the actual results.
Thanks so much, Lincoln, and thank you everybody again for joining us here for our webinar on the Prime Day Insights. And as a lot of you have probably already seen, just reading the news and being on the web, a lot has already been written about Prime Day, both leading up to and following the event. And after keeping an eye on the event throughout the day of July 15th and experiencing it firsthand, our team here at Millward Brown Digital really wanted to understand more deeply what kind of impact Prime Day had on Amazon and on other online retailers, and how, if at all, it might have actually altered the competitive landscape. So just to give you a little bit of background on how we went about and actually did this, we used our panel of about 2 million US consumers who allow us to track the URL behind every click that they make online. And we then go ahead and normalize this behavioral data against the internet browser population to provide a view of the overall web browsing population's online behaviors at any given point in time. So that's just a little bit of background on how we go about and do most of our research. One of the first things we set out to assess was whether Prime Day actually grew purchase activity for Amazon, as figures released by the retailer would suggest to us. And what we found is that the event did help grow Amazon's purchase volume, but it also drove increased purchases for other online retailers as well, which is really interesting. Looking at Prime Day itself, July 15th, all the way over on the right, versus 1 week prior on July 8th, we found that Amazon and Walmart both about doubled the volume of purchases they saw online over the course of that week. And Best Buy's purchase activity grew by nearly 5 times, though its starting purchase volumes as well as Walmart's were much smaller than Amazon's to begin with. So while we saw that greater percentage increase, the volume was not as large as the increase that Amazon saw. And so if we look at these volumes in terms of purchase share, with many retailers, most of the retailers we're looking at experiencing a boost in those purchases on the day of the event, the share picture doesn't shift as much over the course of the week leading up to Prime Day as we saw it shift when we looked at pure volumes. So all the way over on the left on July 8th, Amazon has a strong 92% share of purchases. And that share stays fairly flat at 93% when we come all the way over a week later and look at July 15th for Prime Day. So while volumes grew, This view doesn't exactly tell a story of a runaway day for Amazon. But on our next slide, we'll get some additional context that helps put things in some perspective. So when we compare shares of purchases on Prime Day versus some of the more traditional online shopping holidays, we find that Amazon saw a much larger share of purchases on the day of the event than it did on either Black Friday or Cyber Monday. So with Prime Day, it's almost as if Amazon was able to create a new shopping holiday of sorts, contributing to increased purchase activity across several online retailers, but it was also able to keep a large share of that activity for itself, probably linked to the branding or the ownership it had around the day and around the event. So while shares didn't vary much on Prime Day from the notable share of purchases Amazon generally holds, and we saw it hold throughout the rest of the week, it was substantially larger than the 70 to 80% share Amazon sees on days like Black Friday and Cyber Monday, when other retailers are more likely to steal a greater share of purchases that Amazon might hold. And now Prime Day was important for Amazon not only because of this boost in purchase activity and the large share of that overall purchase activity that it held, but also because of increased engagement that the retailer saw with the Prime program itself and its various features and benefits. So Amazon placed a lot of focus on its own products and services on Prime Day. We can see in the left-hand image, which is a view of Amazon's homepage on the day of the event, that we have, the Kindle and the Fire deals that Amazon was offering are featured prominently, as well as Prime Pantry and Amazon Home Services. They're on there with their own image panels. And this strategy really seems to have paid off for Amazon. Anecdotally, as our team was sort of keeping a pulse on the day and also trying to find some good deals for ourselves, we noticed that the Kindle and Fire were two of the items selling out the quickest when Amazon went ahead and restocked those deals throughout the day. So people were really interested in the Kindle and the Fire, and part of that probably had to do with the fact that Amazon was placing a lot of focus on them and offering good deals on those products. And then on the right, we have some data surrounding engagement with Prime Pantry pages on Amazon.com, and we see that comparing the Prime Day event and those volumes to just 1 week earlier, volumes jumped about 10x from July 8th to July 15th. And this is really interesting because Prime Pantry has been helping the grocery industry and a lot of CPG manufacturers accelerate growth online and accelerate purchase of their products online. So it will definitely be interesting to see in the long term whether any of this Prime Day growth and this particular growth surrounding Prime Pantry sticks and helps that acceleration along further. So definitely something to keep our eyes on. We also went ahead and took a look at weekly signups for Prime and discovered that these volumes increased as well leading up to the event. During the week of Prime Day, Prime signups grew about 4x when compared with weekly signups about a month earlier in the week of 6/14. And signups over this period of about 4 to 5 weeks peaked during the week of the event, so the week of 7/12. And this increase in program membership is really important for Amazon for several reasons. First, of course, because of the initial upfront membership fee that Amazon will add to its revenue for each of these members that sticks with the program following their first free month of trial. And then beyond that, because of the increased value of Prime members to Amazon. Past research we've conducted has shown that Amazon Prime members have higher conversion rates on Amazon than other shoppers do, and that these individuals, these Prime members, are also less likely to cross-shop other retailers. So they're more likely to make a purchase with Amazon, and they're also more loyal to Amazon. So they're really, really valuable to the retailer. And then finally, Prime Day and this increase in Prime membership came along right around the time that Jet.com was set to fully launch. And as you all know, Jet.com is a fairly new kid on the block, offering what they call quote-unquote club price savings on everything from groceries to electronics to jewelry. And membership is about $50 a year with free shipping on orders over $35 and free returns. The list goes on and on. The more products you add to your cart, the more the prices go down on those particular items. All in all, the model stands as an alternative to Amazon's Prime program. And Amazon's act of increasing the visibility of Prime and its benefits to help generate new members might have actually served to snatch up some of those shoppers who might have otherwise turned to Jet once it had officially launched. So perhaps an interesting play and an interesting strategy from Amazon there. Now, we've been talking a lot about how Amazon was impacted by the event, but Prime Day doesn't seem to have only had benefits for Amazon. Walmart in particular capitalized on the opportunity to respond to the event and did so fairly strongly by announcing its own slew of new rollbacks, many of them deals on the same kinds of products being discounted by Amazon. In the days leading up to the event, there was a good amount of discussion about which products Amazon would be offering deals on, and some of those most anticipated quote-unquote leaks on those deals were surrounding electronics like laptops, tablets, TVs. And if we look at the image on the left, which is a screen cap of Walmart's rollback page on the day of the event, we can see that really prominently featured are items like laptops, TVs, and tablets, all the items that people were anticipating from the Amazon Prime Day deals. And Walmart's response did garner attention. Visitation to rollback pages on Walmart.com grew nearly 30 times over the course of the week from July 8th to Prime Day on July 15th. So a pretty notable spike in the amount of people engaging with and looking at those rollback deals on Prime Day in particular. Beyond growing visitation and purchase activity on Prime Day, the event also drove increased cross-shopping behavior between Amazon and Walmart. Looking at our visual here, we can say that all the way over on the left, an average of 3% of Amazon's daily traffic in the week prior to Prime Day also visited Walmart. So 3% of those people shopping on Amazon also shopped on Walmart. But on Prime Day itself, 5% of Amazon's visitors had also visited Walmart, which is an increase of about 64% in cross-shopping between the two retailers over the course of the week. So Walmart and Amazon certainly seem to drum up some increased competition between themselves, which seems to have worked in their favor as both saw increases in purchase activity, as we discussed on that first slide we looked at here. So was Prime Day a success? It's a difficult question to answer. Amazon certainly seems to have been able to, at least in some ways, create a new shopping holiday, boosting sales across several online retailers, but it was one in which Amazon was still able to keep a large share of that activity for itself, and beyond that, also generate increased engagement with its Prime program through the focus of the event, the fact that it was Prime Day. And then looking at the question through the lens of our other online retailers, competitors like Walmart had an opportunity to respond strongly to the event, and when they did, they seem to have benefited from doing so. Ultimately, on a day when some of the internet's biggest retailers were competing with each other to offer the best deals and attract the most online activity, I think we can probably say that the consumer was the biggest winner here.
Thanks, Katie. That was awesome. There's a lot of information to take in there very quickly. It's very compelling results, and it really shows, I think, the strength of Amazon and also the veracity of the rivals to respond. We've shown this information already to a couple of our select clients, and what you're looking at now are a couple of the questions that they have asked that we thought folks listening in today would benefit from. So really two categories of questions, one are for retailers, the other for manufacturers that sell on Amazon. And the first question is, what impact will a surge in Amazon Prime signups have on longer-term retailer choice? As Katie mentioned, people who are Prime members tend to visit other sites less. They tend to convert more. So these become the highest quality Amazon customers. So if Prime Day drove a surge in Prime signups, that's really planting seeds for future Amazon potential by turning regular customers into A+ customers, meaning the Prime people. So great benefit there. Second is, what's the halo effect of Prime Day shopping? I think that comes in several ways. One is more Prime membership. The other is that on a typical holiday, like a Black Friday or Cyber Monday, Amazon will get 70 to 78% of sales. On this particular holiday that Amazon arguably created, they were in the 90s. So I think one of the key Halo metrics that we've looked at is their share of sort of holiday or shopping event business was much higher on this day than compared to some of those other holidays. And the next question is, to what extent did Prime Day pull future buyers forward? This is a great question. We saw, as Katie showed, that business was up for Best Buy, for Walmart, and for Amazon. So everybody's up. And the real question that we're going to be tracking over time is, to what extent did people buy more things than they would normally? So did they buy 3 Kindles when they were planning on buying 2, or 3 shirts when they were planning on buying 2, or 3 televisions when they were planning on buying 2? Or did they just pull business sooner? So did they buy this July instead of, let's say, around Christmas time? And if it's pulling buyers forward, we're going to see a hangover in the marketplace. We'll see people who would have bought at the end of the year now buying towards the summer. And that could really impact revenue projections and all sorts of things. And we don't know yet. We don't know how that's going to play out. We don't know how the consumer mindset's going to work. But it's something very important to watch. For the manufacturers, the first question was, how will Prime Day change the future growth trajectory of online grocery? And that's really, really important, because arguably online sales of grocery products and CPG products lags a lot of other industries, and not for lack of trying, but just more for lack of consumer acceptance. And the fact that Prime Pantry growth grew so much during this event suggests that one of the ancillary benefits may be Amazon spurring consumers to get on board with the online grocery purchase environment. So that may help everybody, but certainly it's going to help Amazon. And then what Amazon promotions can you as a manufacturer co-create to reach new Prime members? And this is a really, really important question, because it's less about just being on Amazon in general. It's about being on Amazon in the right place, or on Walmart in the right place, or Best Buy in the right place. So not all pages are created equal on Amazon. So it's certainly important to be there, and Amazon has clearly flexed its digital muscle, but it's important to be on the right places in particular. We have had a couple of additional questions that have come in as well, and they're pretty interesting. One of the questions was the fact that in terms of growth, Best Buy was showing the best growth. And the question is, I'm going to paraphrase it, is did Amazon increase sales on Best Buy? And our take is no. Our take is more that Best Buy responded with its own efforts of its own, and that's what drove business to Best Buy. But the consumer frenzy around Prime Day got everyone shopping online. So there's a big pool of people online shopping that might not have been otherwise, but then the individual efforts by Best Buy, Walmart, Amazon, a lot of other sites helped each of them gain business. And just if you recall, the Best Buy growth, while it was the best growth, is still the smallest volume. So it's a really, really good question. Another question related to the pulling buyers forward, which we just talked about, which is, will there be a hangover? Did people buy sooner instead of waiting until later in the year? And then the bigger question is, who really won? And as Katie pointed out, the consumers won. So this was a great opportunity where the whole world was on sale. It was all available online. Everyone was shopping at once. Hopefully everyone's boss let them have a long lunch to go shopping, and consumers were shopping, which is really exciting. The company that may not have won, as Katie also mentioned, was Jet. It's a newer player in the space, and they're trying to build some brand equity and consumer awareness. And coincidentally or not, just as they're starting to do that, you have Amazon Prime Day dominating media and dominating, as we saw, consumer sales and consumer site traffic. So it's a pretty significant impact all in all. One of the other questions, and this I think is from a manufacturer actually, what can other retailers learn from Amazon Prime Day? And probably the biggest thing is that Amazon's even more powerful than we thought, but they don't own the world, in that Best Buy and other companies can respond and take advantage of things as well. So probably what retailers can learn is Amazon has an amazing market force and marketing force as well, but that it's important to spread yourself out to have the most cost-effective impact as possible. And that's really where the ROI comes in. Amazon has more traffic, but if you can do something that has a higher ROI on one of the other sites, that may be the best way to go. It depends really on the category of products too, whether it's pantry, whether it's appliances, whether it's books and music, things like that. Another question is, how can retailers best handle social media reaction to major shopping events like Prime Day? So early on Prime Day, the media was skewing a bit negative. I think they like to be negative. Everyone tends to read a negative story, I guess, saying that consumers were upset. The things they wanted weren't there. Things were selling out quickly. It was things like paper towels were on sale, not the important things. And that may have been the early buzz, but obviously all in, big picture, the bigger view was that Amazon gained a lot of business. They sold a lot of things. Good things or high value things like Kindles were selling out, then being restocked. So the view from the street is that Amazon was sort of feathering in the offers throughout the day, and that the early offers maybe had been smaller, but certainly it generated a lot of buzz. And we see this in other industries as well. If there's a big sales event, year-end sales events in the car market, specialty sales in the travel market around holiday seasons, back-to-school sales for clothes and paper and pens and things like that. So it's a great opportunity to leverage the media reaction and media coverage to drive business as well, and we think that happened here as well. So overall, I think probably the biggest thing that we are excited about watching is two things. One, again, is will there be a hangover? Did we pull business forward? And second, what's the long-term impact of additional Prime members? These are people who will cross-shop rivals less. They're more likely to convert on Amazon. And that's really the big question. Where did the biggest benefit come from? More Prime members, which pay off later, or more sales today? And they're both key wins, but the question will become how that plays out going forward. One thing I just wanted to remind you, we have a few more questions coming in. One of the things I wanted to remind you is that if you think some of your peers would like to see this presentation or were unable to attend today, reach out to the folks on the screen there, and which is Katie and I, or your Miller Brand Digital contact, and we can arrange to have the same presentation presented to an individual company. Let's say 25 or 30 of your peers at your company, and occasionally our clients and partners like that because they can ask questions in what they feel is a safer environment, so they're not revealing too many questions to their rivals. Okay, we just have one more question. Was if Amazon's share was around 93% through all of the days shown, how do you really call that a success? Great question. I don't know if that's from a retailer or a manufacturer, but it's a great question. On a day-by-day basis, it doesn't seem like they've gained, but when you compare the results of how Amazon did on Prime Day in share of business versus Black Friday and Cyber Monday, that's when they had like between a 20 and 15 percentage point lift. So normally on Black Friday, Amazon has about 70% of sales, and on Cyber Monday they have about 80. But on Prime Day they had about 90. So while it was steady day over day compared to a typical shopping event, quote unquote, they really killed it. So I think that may be where the big win is for them, if that answers the question. So we're getting a note. Yeah, it does. Okay, good. So that's kind of a key look in terms of the day-to-day versus the bigger picture, and that's where we can add some context as well. We're coming up on the end of the half hour. If there are other questions, oh wait, there's one coming in now, and we're trying to avoid reading the entire question. So one of the questions was on Prime Pantry, where on Prime Pantry we saw a bigger lift. It was a 10x lift versus the around double link for everything else. And as we talked about, the Prime Pantry market reflects sort of the emerging market for grocery and related goods in the United States. It's a little bit stronger in Europe, but in the United States it's kind of larval and younger and emerging quickly. And as we noted, and as Katie noted as well, the Prime event may be the thing that kickstarts consumers to shop for everything online, and finally groceries as well, because that's one of the lower turned items, the lower conversion items that we see online right now. So wrapping that all up, we hope you enjoyed the session. Thanks for attending. We had a lot of people online. We hope the visuals were good and the audio was good and the quality. In general, the way our customers are using some of this data is to understand, the category path. How do consumers get to Amazon or Walmart or Best Buy or any online property? What digital touch points do they use along the way, and how do you influence them? And how do you influence them cost effectively with your marketing? And kudos to Katie and the entire retail team for layering on the insights on top of the data here, because I think that's what really makes it sing versus just numbers and so forth. So thanks again for attending. I hope you guys all have a great afternoon. If you're on the West Coast, I hope you have a great rest of the morning. And we will talk to you soon. If you'd like copies of this, let us know. And again, if you'd like the presentation for your peers, a webinar at your offices, let us know and we can take care of that as well. So thanks and have a great afternoon.